I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. I'd like to welcome Zyah to the podcast. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, please introduce yourself to everybody.
I am Zyah, either Sensei or Zyah, whatever you want to call me. I run a dojo here on twitch.tv. So if you guys wish to follow me, I am welcoming every new student to my dojo. It is very fun to have new people come into my dojo, and so I could teach them how to not play video games and everything else. So.
the ways of the guy who finishes second.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, it's more like the way of stuck at a puzzle for 15 minutes in a horror game and not figuring out how to do it for another 15.
Well, somebody's got to pass on that knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, everybody's going to win, and who's fun with that? I mean, really, if you can't laud it over somebody else. So, how did you get started with VTubing?
Actually, I'm pretty new when it comes to VTubing. I started like maybe middle of last month, so probably middle of November, around that.
Yeah, so not too long at all.
But sorry,
not too long at all then.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
But before that, I was in content creation for a while, since like 2020.
Yeah.
But I was more so doing it lightly. Wasn't really doing it for trying to do a side hobby like I'm doing right now. But
yeah, and was it more like was it recorded videos or was it streams or what?
At the time, it was just live streaming, just because I was recording off of the PlayStation 4's share play mode, so I didn't really have much to work with when it came to that. And then I did end up getting a computer, and I started doing live streams, just because I didn't really have much experience in editing.
Yeah.
It wasn't until last year that I started getting into short form editing videos. I started doing just montages for video games and stuff like that. I didn't really do much for content wise. I mean, I didn't do really playthroughs that often. I did a couple of them, but mainly just live streams and stuff like that. Just me playing a game and screwing around.
Yeah. But what made you turn on the microphone and decided to embrace the VTubing groups?
To do VTubing, there's a multitude of reasons actually. For me, it was also just anonymity purposes, just because, one, I didn't like how stone-faced I was in my face cam. So I was like, that's not really engaging for people, so I decided to look into the VTubing. Also, my brother-in-law was like, hey, there's these people out there that do, animated characters instead of their faces and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of them. I was a person who used to think VTubing was kind of weird, and I was like, how do you interact with something like that and get into, just watching a character instead of a person? But then I figured out it's actually a lot more fun for the individual, because they get to express themselves and show their artwork and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and for some folks, it gives them a chance to be more themselves than they would.
Yeah,
and they're showing off, but they're not. The risk isn't quite the same.
Oh yeah,
for the reward. Are you somebody who's never had a problem with getting in front of people and grabbing the microphone in front of the audience, or is this all kind of something new for you?
I haven't really been nervous at all. Like I said, I've been doing it since 2020, so I'm not a stranger to being in front of an audience. Obviously, I get a little loud because my hearing's a little bit shot, but so I'm a lot more. I guess I project a lot more than I should. And if that becomes a problem, by the way, let me know.
No, believe me. Believe me, I over the years, I did radio for 35 years, and believe me, there are some people who I wish would take some lessons in how to project their voice a little bit. And it causes all sorts of audio problems on the other end. So I am thankful for your projection. Actually, I revel in your hearing problems.
Yeah, it's definitely something I wish I could fix, but sometimes it does come into a benefit.
Yeah, yeah, and the fact that you're speaking clearly also makes a big difference in that sort of thing. But with this, the VTubing segment, how different was it than streaming how you were doing it before, as far as how you handle it.
Well, for me, it was more setting everything up.
Mm.
I am not huge when it comes to like, okay, when I say that, I mean like I suck at setting things up most of the time. Like it took me maybe like 5 hours to set up my VTube studio, my model, and
Mm.
trying to get everything down and smooth and correct. And even sometimes I still have problems. But for me, it was more just setting everything up, getting it into place. When I used to use just a face cam, I just plug in my webcam and just have OBS do the rest of the work.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but now I gotta like look at my model and see if everything's going right. I gotta mess with my like the augmentation of it. I gotta mess with my webcam tracking, like to make sure my camera's tracking me correctly.
Mhm.
Like there's other things I gotta worry about now, and it's fine. But like I'm just trying to like my brain has to get used to everything in order to get everything down smoothly.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a matter of routine after a
Oh yeah,
while, and you'll have a system for doing it, and then later on you'll realize that the system breaks down, and you have to find some other system, and then it gets all sorts. And now I'm projecting my own stuff in radio again. I should stop doing that. Uh,
no,
but
no, no, it's fun.
but really it does become a matter of getting used to your surroundings. As I don't know if people realize that VTubers don't just get up, turn on one switch and go. there, there's
Oh yeah,
and again, it's depending on your own everybody's personal setups and how they're, whether they're PNG tubers or other types of things. It does vary, but it isn't just a matter of, oh, here we go, I'm on. Let me see. Let's find a game. Let's use this one. Go.
yeah, exactly. That's what that was.
Yeah. So have you gotten into that type of routine yet? Into scheduling what you want to do, or is it still hit and miss whenever you feel like it at this point?
It's kind of in between.
Mm.
Like I'll have certain things that I want to do, but obviously life gets in the way or something like that.
Mm.
Or I'll get a random ask from my friends who are also in the V2 community, or like, "Hey, do you want to do this such and such on this day?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, why not?" Didn't really plan for that, but sure, I can do that. It sounds
so
fun.
so
Like this week has been horrible for
yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to catch you on such a horrible week. you're,
No, I had this one planned, so that was one.
you're fully exposed, and you can't cover up. Go get all the good juicy details. Um,
Oh yeah.
the working with other VTubers, was this a question of people that you knew before you got started, or were you able to meet up with people very quickly once you got started?
Oh, I knew absolutely nobody when I started in here. Um, I actually, how you reached out to us via to the Ian VTubers Discord,
Yeah,
that's how I started finding people was through that, and
yeah.
I've found a group that seemed to have accepted me for being in their group, and I appreciate them a lot for that.
There's the old WC Fields line. I think was I wouldn't ever join a club that would have me as a guest or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But really the Discord has been, um, and people can yell at Discord all they want, but Discord is a lot of the reason why I'm still going, because I'm doing the interviews over Discord. I got a Discord server to set things up, and like you said, I've been able to go through the EN VTubers server to get so many guests and so many contacts. Um, I really, without something like this, I don't know how a lot of VTubers would get along. Be awfully by themselves and yelling into the dark with a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
And
Discord has definitely made life a lot easier for creators.
yeah, and collaborations and that type of thing. So with the folks you're able to meet up with, um, have you? I mean, you haven't been on that long, but how many collaborations have you done?
I'd say about what, maybe 4
Wow.
right now. I haven't done too many, but I have done a couple.
Well, there's a lot of people who go through a couple of years without doing that many.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it must have been pretty at least comfortable for you to bring in other people and kind of hang out with them and blend chat a little bit. Did you get comfortable with that pretty quickly?
Comfortable having an audience? No, because I was so used to just being, streaming to myself. until I actually. That's why I'm going to be sticking with VTubing is because it's clearly gaining me an audience,
Hmm.
and I've actually been able to have a small community, and I appreciate everyone who comes to my community for that.
Yeah.
And uh, it's also probably because of the fact that I play horror games most of the time, so it's probably another contributor to it.
You're one of those folks who goes in there and starts screaming, or are you able to handle the jump scares pretty good?
Yes and no. There's certain ones that get me. Like yesterday, I was playing Bigfoot, and it wasn't even Bigfoot that scared me. It was a lightning strike on a tree that made me soil my pants for a second there. That wasn't cool.
Yeah, that would tend to do that even in real life. I think that would happen. I actually haven't seen people do play Bigfoot in some time. That seems like a game that would be almost impossible for me to play. It's all of a sudden there's Bigfoot coming at you, and like, what are you gonna do? Um,
Sometimes he'll give you warning signs, like he'll roar off in the distance, but
yeah,
most of the time he does just kind of appear.
yeah, and all the stuff you put together is out the window, and you're just running away for the most part.
I was the opposite. I ended up getting desensitized to him, and I was actually trying to hunt him because he just wouldn't show his face the entire time
Oh, that's even worse.
because
You,
he knew.
yeah, you're just standing there waiting and waiting and waiting for you. Um,
Yeah, I stood there for maybe 3 nights waiting for him. He didn't show up.
maybe it's not. Are you sure that you got the right game?
I think so.
And it's not
Either that or
Bigfoot.
he went on vacation.
It's not the Bigfoot game. It's the just standing around an encampment game.
I could deal with that.
A little easier to play, but really tough to stream. Um,
Yeah, really tough.
get some audience going. With the horror games, would you rather have the jump scare type horror games, or would you rather have the long con, constant horror terror games?
You talking about like psychological kind of thing?
Yeah.
Uh, really depends on like what the. To me, it depends on like what the theme is of the game.
Mm,
Like if we're talking like something like Five Nights at Freddy's, then yeah, definitely the jump scare type.
mm,
But if we're talking something like Amnesia, then definitely psychological
mm.
because at that point you're paranoid constantly in that.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like that would fit well for like. For me, one of the big games that got my attention on my channel was Joy of Creation,
Mm.
which is a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game, and that is a mortifying remake that the guy made,
Isn't
and
everything
I'm not
that
looking forward to
isn't
it.
everything in that series mortifying?
Well, Joy of Creation kind of took it to a different level with that.
Oh, I don't know whether I should be happy for them or sad for them at that point.
Uh, I would say happy for the creator because he's probably gonna get a lot of money from that.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And it's nice that they're able to do that. That
Oh
they
yeah,
give them the ability to, without coming after them in lawsuits. uh,
oh yeah, it's really cool.
yeah, it does. People are starting to realize now that for some of these games, and I wouldn't say like your super major games for the most part, but a lot of these games is actually going to help them out by allowing people to modify and do things off of it because it still keeps the game alive.
Yeah, there's longevity to it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have a probably a game like Fallout New Vegas do as
Skyrim.
well as Skyrim without
Skyrim's
people
been
doing
going
it.
for 13 years now still.
Yeah,
So
yeah, or um, and the fans are helping out with that. I mean, even a game like Stardew Valley, which updates the fellow updates it constantly. There are so many fan additions to that game that people have can play it endlessly, different things with it. Um,
oh yeah, I love modification stuff.
it-
It's fun.
yeah, so as long as it works,
That's true.
it doesn't corrupt and ruin your game file.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way with Baldur's Gate.
Oh, ouch! Uh,
Yeah, I lost my whole entire save for that.
oh no,
But then they
no.
added in-game mods, so I wasn't really upset anymore.
Yeah, I'd still be upset.
Eh,
It'd linger in the back of my mind
gives me a reason to keep playing the game though.
there you go. There you go. So what would you like to play on stream online that you haven't been able to do yet?
Well, I mean, obviously I've been playing Subnautica recently. I did it yesterday on one of my streams and actually had a lot of fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I have huge thalassophobia, so for me, that's a horror game.
Mm.
Um, and I'm
That
probably going to be doing it maybe later today, but I'd have
so
to figure that out.
so what type of phobia was that?
Subnautica is it's like an underwater survival
Oh,
game
and I
on
know
an
that.
alien planet.
But what type? You
Oh,
mentioned a type of phobia. Um,
oh, thalassophobia.
like,
Yeah, it's the fear of the ocean,
oh yeah. Well,
fear of deep ocean specifically.
I can relate to that. Heights and depths are not my cup of tea.
And someone who lives in a desert, yeah, for me, I don't, oceans aren't my thing.
Yeah. Nope, it's weak. Your
We don't
Pokemon
have
type
oceans
is
here.
your Pokemon type is weak against water.
Yep, I am
That's
a strong fire type.
a strong fire type. But that seems like a game that would be so much fun to do
Oh, it's a
eventually.
lot of fun.
Yeah, and do you, with what you got going in and what you're living with, when you get into the ocean, do you panic a little bit?
There's definitely that, but I'm better at hiding that.
Mm.
Granted, I did lose my cool yesterday because a little like leech fish went up into my face. It didn't bite
Oh,
me at all. It just kind of flew up at me.
yeah,
And I let out a little scream.
yeah.
I was like, "Oh hell, okay."
Get this thing
I'm not.
off.
I looked at my chat and I said, "Not a word."
Thump. It just lands. Like, no, not.
Don't you dare clip that.
Yeah. Do not clip that, chat. Do not clip it.
They probably did. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I'm sure they
I won't know until they post it.
did. That's one thing that people can do to help a streamer is clip things and do you mind when other people do that for you?
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
I love laughing at my own misfortune sometimes.
They're pretty creative with it sometimes, but I always tend to look at it with folks as you're getting free advertising.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And not only that, but it shows that the chat is paying that much attention to what you're doing that that they realize where what a place that would be a good clip to come from. So that's always good too. It's engagement in a whole different way. Um, so with the chat, I've has engagement been an easy thing for you to do with your chat for these games?
Uh, are you talking about like for them engaging me or me engaging them?
Both.
Well, I get a lot of lurkers most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm okay with lurkers. Like I'm okay with viewership in general. I could care less about if people talk in my chat or if they want, they can just watch me screw around, hang out. That's up to for me. You're
Yeah.
staying in there and listening to my dumbass play a game for a long time, then that's fine by me. But if they do comment, I will try my very best to acknowledge them and talk with them at least because I do have a small viewership, so I can individually talk to people,
Yeah.
which is nice. So
Yeah.
I can individually call them out and be like, "Hey, I saw your comment" and stuff like that, and I'll read out their comment or I'll answer that directly.
Well, now that you start getting that audience and start start to get a little bit of a momentum built up, try to anyway. You realize that these folks are taking time out of their day to come back to see you. Um, and they are actual fans of what you're doing. And when, do you start to feel like kind of a responsibility to them when that happens?
I'd be lying if I said no, but
Yeah.
yes, I do feel a sort of responsibility to at least be a source of entertainment or I guess escape in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, is there a pressure to be on your game every time you turn the microphone on?
Oh hell no. My audience knows how I am with games, so they don't expect a top tier performance. That's probably why they watch me so that I can suffer.
You're a very honest person when it comes to that.
Oh, I've said it many times when I'm playing horror games. I'm like, and welcome to the 30-minute segment where Zyah continues to fumble around in a puzzle in a horror game before he gets to the actual monsters.
That's when you see. Now I don't like backseat folks, but if I might just make one exception.
Oh, I told him I was like, give me like 10 minutes to figure it out. If I don't, then give me a hint.
Which in itself is a hint.
Yeah.
into them. Be ready in 10 minutes because I've already spent several hours on this. Uh,
Oh yeah.
when you get, have you had a situation yet where you started streaming a game and it hasn't quite worked like you would like for it to stream?
Um, there was a couple of games that I tried. I tried Portal.
Hmm.
That didn't really do very well because mainly because it was just me silently trying to figure out the puzzle, and I kind of Portal is one of my favorite games.
Hmm.
It's been one of my favorite games since I was a kid.
Right.
So I tend to try hard that game a little bit more. So when I do, I go very silent. I don't talk very much. I also tried Monster Hunter, but I didn't really get much engagement when it came to that game.
Yeah.
Which I love Monster Hunter. It's a fun game, but
Yeah. Well, that would be very tough to engage with chat during that, I would think, because it's not like you can just take time off and see what's going on because they're constantly powering up or doing something against you.
oh yeah,
I mean, you have to be on top of every encounter you're at, otherwise you're going to be finished pretty quick. Um,
yeah.
and that's. Have you done that on as solo or have you done it with other folks?
I don't really have friends to play Monster Hunter with because most of the people I play with don't have it. So
Oh,
that's mainly just me.
well, see, that's the advantages of being rich and giving and being able to buy them the game. So
True, but I'm not rich, so
well, I suggest becoming rich.
I
That's
will definitely put that on the bucket list.
as soon as I do it, I'll let you know how. Um,
Awesome.
the so now that you got started, you got your feet wet, you got your feet on the ground. Uh, Now what are you planning for the channel? What's next up in your sights?
Well, first off, it's obviously to get to affiliate so I can make my channel even more interesting
Right.
because I'm trying to just like make my channel a little bit, I wouldn't say like unique, but I wanted to make it special for people who come into my channel. Like I'm doing like channel intros every time I do a different game or something, which I can send that. I can send an intro for you if you want to put that in there. Um, the I got inspired from a different channel to make an intro for it whenever like I start a game or something. But I decided to make my own little twist.
Yeah.
So I have a regular intro for when I do like just regular games,
Yeah.
and I have a horror intro. So like it's a different one, and I can link it to you to kind
Yeah.
of give you a thing for that.
Yeah. Let's see if I
Uh,
can. We'll see if I can figure out how to do that. Remember, I'm.
well, it's just I posted it on my YouTube, so I'll just be sending a YouTube video.
Yeah, that
Um,
sounds good. Remember, I was the radio star that video killed. Okay.
oh, okay,
Actually,
gotcha.
actually, just
I'll be
wounded.
aware of that.
It didn't so much kill me as wound me.
Okay, gotcha.
But the video is not my forte, unfortunately, when it comes to that sort of thing. But we'll take well at least what we're going to do definitely is have all the links for folks to get involved in what you've got going on. Have you been able to spread across the different platforms yet?
Yeah, so I actually started originally on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I didn't actually start doing Twitch, at least for a while until this year, obviously, because I used to have an older channel on Twitch, but then I lost that channel, so I just kind of lost my motivation to keep on streaming on it and keep on going with it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I also wasn't really streaming that often on it, so I really didn't care too much.
yeah. Did you lose the channel or did you forget the password?
Yes. I forgot the channel for a long time, or I forgot the password for a long time, but then it said my channel no longer existed, and I was like, what? So I went
Okay.
back
Hmm.
on an alt account, and I searched up my old channel, but it was still there, so I was really confused.
Somebody else figured out your password.
So I was just like, whatever, I don't care anymore.
It'll come back to haunt you. But in the meantime, keep
So if
going.
somehow someone finds that old channel, I'd be impressed.
And if you do find it, tell Zyah the password, okay? So they can they can get some
So I
some
can
of
change
that
that.
old stuff back. I hate when I used to do that all the time back in the early days of the net. You'd start up an account somewhere and some sort of text account, then you lose the password and you just have to start all over again, and it just was a pain in the behind. One of the reasons why I've
Oh
had
yeah.
the same email now for almost 35 years. I mean, my actual email is a Netscape email.
Oh, okay.
That tells you something. I mean, I don't think Netscape has been around for since before 2000 at least. So,
Hey,
I mean,
if it makes
why?
you feel any better, my brother still uses a Yahoo email.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, Yahoo email was the Gmail of its time. Uh, you could get one of those easily. And it's the um, with that. How is your fan interaction going with with your chats? Are you getting like people off of your streams trying to get a hold of you based on what happened with your streams?
I wouldn't say very much. I mean, I talk with my mod a lot.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to get like a game plan with her.
Yeah.
But she's trying to get a microphone, so obviously that's not going to happen in a little bit. But other than that, I had one viewer who would text me on my Instagram, and I was like, I need to make a Discord so that they could just DM me through that, not my personal social media.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I haven't seen him in the stream in a while. But I hope he comes back. He was a fun person to have around. But he's in the Discord, so I know he's getting my alerts.
Yes. Yes. Just send out the radio signal and the bat signal up. See if you can get him to come back in. Um,
Hopefully,
yes. And well, they've probably got their own channel now and they're trying to bring you in at the same time. Um,
maybe that'd be cool.
yeah. The interaction that you've been able to get with Discord. It mentioned going into the EN VTubers that type of thing. Has that been easy for you to navigate, or occasionally has it thrown you for a loop?
Um, it's easy to navigate, but for me, it was trying to find content that I was able to do. Like, there's certain games in there, like Valorant or League of Legends, that I just don't want to do.
Right.
Like, I don't really like Valorant or League. It's a shocker there. Um, it's just like I don't really play those games very often. Like the same thing with like Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact. Like I don't
Yeah.
play those games, so I can't really. I wouldn't feel like I would be a very good engagement when it comes to that.
Right. Right. Right.
So
And
I try to look for games like Lockdown Protocol
yeah.
or Nuclear Nightmare, which was one we did recently, or
Oh,
Minecraft or something simple like that.
Nuclear Nightmare. I haven't seen that one. What's that? Is it obviously it's about
Um,
nuclear nightmares, but I mean, what type of game is it?
I mean, it's fairly that actually.
Yeah.
Uh, the I would say the preface is think of like The Thing, like the movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they put it into a game, so it's like you're stuck in the Arctic and you're supposed to find evidence of a like a nuclear disease going around.
Hmm.
Essentially, the preface is the scientists there ingested uranium.
Oh.
I don't know why that's the preface, but that's the preface of it. And the whole point is to get the research before the U.S. just nukes the continent.
Wow. That what? Why would we nuke that? That would that.
Because apparently the containment isn't contained.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking like, okay, that's a bit redundant, but here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah. And melt the ice cap, and then that'll be just fine. Perfect. Go. Let's.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that won't cause a planet flooding or anything like that.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no. And the extra nuclear you're adding to the nuclear probably won't do anything either.
nope.
Have we learned nothing from the Fallout series?
Or nothing from literally everything else in history.
That's right. Ooh, yes. Unfortunately, especially these days. Um, well, it sounds like you really got you're really enjoying the time that you've done so far. Has there been anything that has struck you um, the wrong way about VTubing yet? Something that's kind of caught that you weren't expecting to be as tough as it is.
I think that was more trying to find a community inside of it, or trying to find, for me at least, trying to find friends in there.
Mhm.
That was like the rough thing for me was trying to find a group that I could play games with and hopefully have a collaboration with instead of just being a solo VTuber the whole entire time.
Yeah, but that didn't last too long. I mean, you've had more collaboration now than some people have in their entire careers.
Oh yeah, and I'm happy for that, which
Yeah,
I consider myself lucky to have even found a group.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, some people come on and they're introverted to start with, and it's tough for them to get in with other folks. Um, you don't seem that type of person. Are you an introvert off of the screen?
um, for when it comes to that, no. I mean, I would say I could be pretty talkative if I can.
Mm,
It
yeah,
depends on how good my energy level is.
yeah. So it wasn't too tough to reach out to people once you found somebody to reach out to.
No, not at all. I mean, most of the time, actually, for the group that I have, the guy I collaborated with in the past actually reached out to me
Mm.
and asked, "Hey, you want to do another collaboration again?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I'll do it."
It's good to find that right away and find people that you mesh with is not easy too because there's a lot of people and you can't just collaborate with everybody that comes along.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, you have to do it with something that's mutually beneficial to both of you, and you have to find a time that'll work for both of you. There's a lot of things
Oh,
involved in this, and
yeah, that was the other hard factor was time zones.
yeah, yeah. If you got one person two people you want to collaborate with, one is in Italy and the other is in Australia. Good luck finding a time.
Yeah, that was definitely the hard part for it. I mean, thankfully everyone does it in Eastern Standard,
Yeah,
so I just know I'm 2 hours behind.
yeah,
So I'm like, all
yeah,
right, that sounds good.
yeah. Well, we can get to some of those. I mean, I've been interviewing people all over the world now, thankfully, but some of the time zones are a half hour off. How do
That's
you
interesting.
how do you even do that? I don't know how that would work. I mean, I grew up with all the television things. It was 5 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Central time, and something Pacific time. I learned that, but how do you get the half hour stuff?
I think it's also like because I know like California and Arizona are like it's a weird like 20-minute difference for them
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, especially with
because
California.
yeah, because of the sunset and sunrise. So
California looks at things differently than I do in the Midwest,
uh, they look at other things differently. That's for sure.
and then more power to them. I'm not they got nothing against you, but y'all are kind of crazy out there. But then so are we.
Yeah, they need to stop coming over to my state too. They're making the highways absolutely dangerous.
Keep all your stuff over there, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it the fact is once you get in a format like this in a medium like this, your potential audience is all over the planet, and everybody who has any type of device can be a part of what you're doing. So far, the folks who've come on, have they concentrated in the United States mostly, or have they been all over the world?
On my Twitch, it's mainly US,
Hmm.
but surprisingly on my YouTube, I have people from like India and Germany watching me.
That's cool.
At least I think that's what it is. That's what my YouTube analytics told me. I was
Yeah,
like, I don't know how reliable that is, but if that got viewers from Germany, that's pretty funny.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's still worldwide. I mean, and
Yeah, that's true.
and I tell people your potential audience is about 90% of the planet, which is a lot of people, and they're not all going to tune in, but I'll take 10% of it if it's. I don't need the whole planet, just your half at the most part. Um,
Yeah.
and it's the potential is so huge that I'm really waiting for one person to break out, and you know you see folks with 10,000 people occasionally on a Twitch stream, which is fantastic. I want to see somebody break it. I want to see how high that number goes. Um,
I mean, I've seen there's some pretty big numbers. I mean, I like Kai Cenat, I think obviously has had like the biggest viewership on Twitch for a couple years now.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, he's got like I think the biggest I saw on Twitch was like maybe 25,000.
yeah, yeah, which is massive.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
impressive.
that's a small baseball stadium there
Yeah.
of
That's
people.
bigger than most college football stadiums.
Yes, yes, and for some college football teams, that's more than you'll get in an entire year. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
all
speaking
concentrated in one
in
place.
one place. Um, but I'm going to see some event like hit six digits or maybe even upper six digits and see how the system works.
Oh,
It'd be funny to see how it actually handles something like that. Um,
how Twitch's servers would be able to handle that?
yeah, yeah. I'll
Don't
see.
know.
Yeah, we should organize something. You and I, we'll put together. We'll just say, tune in, tune in to Zyah's stream, no matter what, and we'll see how high we can get the numbers. And we'll.
Jeez, I don't even know if my computer would be able to handle that. Holy crap! My computer could barely even handle Marvel Rivals streaming alongside my computer, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, there's a lot of people who had that problem, and it's kind of surprising. I would have thought that they would have made it a little more, that people would start making games a little more easier to stream because of the free publicity they're getting.
I think it also does have to do with like the varying computer parts, though.
Yeah.
That's another reason. It'd be hard to keep track of every single graphics card and CPU, because that's like what the main thing they use, which I found out. Because I know a fair amount of like when it comes to computer parts and like how software works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to games like Marvel Rivals, where it does take a lot of, mainly Marvel Rivals for me for struggling. It's actually latency. It doesn't come with, it's not like frame rates or anything. I don't have problems with that.
Right.
But it does come with like Wi-Fi internet issues and stuff like that. And me, what we call rubber banding, which is like where you'll just suddenly shoot back to your original position and then you have to walk forward again and you'll shoot back again.
Oh geez, that would be so irritating.
That's one of the big things I've been annoyed with Marvel Rivals. But other than that, most of the time it's pretty easy.
Well, when my computer breaks down like that, I just have to figure out where to put the chicken bones, and then everything else is fine. That's my extent of knowing how to do the computer stuff. Just I'll turn it off and back on. There we go. We're good. I've
tried that many times. Sometimes that doesn't even work, and then I end up at a roadblock. I'm like, all right, what do I do?
What's almost worse is if you
all right, to Google I go.
What's almost worse is if you try something like 7 times and it doesn't work, but the 8th time works.
Yeah.
Why did it work now? Yeah.
I always think like, oh, maybe my computer had some time to reset or something.
Yeah.
Which, that's a funny little story. Kind of sidetrack here.
Yeah.
I was building my computer and like I was replacing a part, like a very vital part, which was the CPU cooler.
It's pretty vital. Yes.
I was switching from a fan to a water cool, and when I installed it, there's like a grate where my fans are at the front of my computer, and it can come off for ease of access to like the front fans and stuff like that.
Right.
So because I had to relocate those fans.
Right.
But here's the key part of the story. I didn't put the vent back on when I installed the part.
Ooh.
Keep that in mind for a second.
Okay.
I went to go plug it in to test out my computer to see if it was working or not, to see if my temperatures were cooler or if they were staying the same, and my computer didn't turn on. And I spent maybe like an hour trying to figure out why my computer wasn't turning on. I was thinking, like, did I relocate the power cord somewhere? Did I relocate the different cable to a different port?
Yeah.
And then I was like, in my brain, I was like, I'll just do this tomorrow. So I snapped the vent back on, and I was like, maybe I should try one more time. I pressed the power button, and my PC turned on. I was like, what? I was like, you're not telling me that my vent was the thing taking my computer from turning on.
It was.
I was so lost.
You didn't think it was going to be a fashion statement.
No, I thought it was I guess maybe there was like a sensor or something. I don't know. I had to go look at who made my case, but I still confuses me to this day.
Yeah, you need to start your own computer repair channel. Is the vent on? Then I can't help you then if the vent's still on.
Those people are going to get their computers back probably a month later. They're not going to be able to get them back very quickly.
It's an absolute pleasure talking with you, Zyah, and I really hope that things keep going for you here in the future. You got a really good attitude to it, and
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and if you get some of these some big events happening, let me know so we can promo them for you here. And
awesome, sounds great.
We'll get you back real soon.
Awesome, I look forward to that.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.